What is going down, everyone? It's episode 299. We're back from the National. We're going to do a little recap of the National. I think the word for me was love, honestly. Felt so much love. Community came out, showed us lots of support, had a lot of fun. So we'll go into some of the things that we did at the National, as well as some of the big cards that were pulled. We had our karaoke contest, so that's coming. Apologize for the lack of content last week from the audio standpoint. We had a lot of Instagram stuff. But we're also going to talk NT football, which is coming out next week. National Treasures football. Is Brock Purdy's RPAs? What's the price on those? So think about that, guys. That's a huge release in this hobby, especially with football on the horizon. Arch Manning card sells for $100,000. Is it worth it? I don't know. It's got the great pedigree. Also, one card to rule them all. Post Malone makes a big purchase, which is probably a small purchase for him, but buys a card for $2 million. That's crazy. We'll talk about all of that and more on today's episode of The Hype. But the National, man, what an event. It's a blur. My voice is about 70%. I think Cody's is about 20%.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah. You sound like you've been just puffing the Marlboro Reds.
Non-filters.
You got the Marlboro Reds.
It
was rolling them in the back.
You know what I should do?
Bochi.
There you go. That was the song that did it, by the way. That was for the people who were following us. Now I was going to do my Sam Elliott, like, Coors, the banquet beer.
Coors, the banquet beer.
The banquet beer, the dude. I can do a little Sam Elliott for you now.
But, Cody did a rendition of a lot of you guys left the party, the ones that were there. We did have the karaoke event go another hour, and there's about 15 people that were in for a treat. They watched me perform. They watched C-Rad, Gary, and, of course, Cody. And, I actually, if I closed my eyes, I actually thought Cher was in the building.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
I don't know how you made your voice.
Cher, what an absolute legend. So, to be put in the same sentence as Cher brought us so many wonderful hits. It really does mean a lot.
Yeah, and it's definitely a better comparison than Sonny Bono. But shout out to Joe Staley too, who was absolutely a madman on the content for us, and a lot of you guys got to meet him. He did his Under the Sea to open the show. He's also a judge. I also want to give another shout out to Sports Card Nonsense. Yeah. You could actually listen to our podcast that we did with them. It's if you just listen to this one, you haven't listened to the other one. It's the one prior to this. If you're listening on Spotify or Google Play or any of those, that podcast was phenomenal. But we had Gio as a judge for the karaoke contest, as well as Jesse was a participant. And so this was Thursday night. We'll start with Thursday night. We had our karaoke party, and we also had some special Mojo Collection gift boxes that I think was a big hit. And just a lot of good times, good vibes. Try to not make it businessy, just more of an appreciation for you guys. So shout out to all you guys that went there. And I know if you weren't able to be there, you got to try to make it to the next one that we're going to do. But just a lot of love in the room, a lot of excitement, a lot of entertainment, a lot of laughing, being able to meet you guys in person. Is why I kicked off the show with I just felt the love. It was just great to kind of get the vibe and feel people's enthusiasm for the hobby, enthusiasm for us that have been breaking for so many years, and it was a fantastic event. But props to Cody too, who was the hostess with the mostest. I think was you did a phenomenal job out there.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun to do that, and I mean this genuinely because I know a lot of people who are listeners went to the party. So if you're listening to this, a huge thank you to you. Like, we could not have made this the event that we wanted to make it without you guys, and we had a great turnout, a really fun crowd. I was super into it. I think the biggest compliment for me was hearing from guys that you guys have known for years saying, it feels like what it did when we were here 12, 13 years ago, starting out, going out, having a good time, being friends and being friendly. And was like a massive compliment. And then to have people throughout the entire weekend, like up till Sunday, coming up to our booth. Man, that party. What a good time. It was the most fun I had all weekend. It was the most fun thing I did all weekend. When are you guys doing it again? I can't wait. So, all the planning that went into it behind the scenes to have that payoff was huge, man. So it really meant a lot, I think, to everybody. I can speak to everybody.
I think the most underrated. So we had a karaoke contest with 8 folks. We actually added an 8th one later. So shout out to Sean. But I think
Sean killed it.
People in the beginning, I think we were a little bit tougher on the score, knowing that we can't give out all of our wares at the beginning. So Chris Carlin kicked it off, and he did Since You've Been Gone in the style of Eddie Vedder, which I think was a great rendition. Ivan came out with "Hips That Don't Lie." He didn't sing that song, but he did another one, "Bites the Dust." But he was shaking them
Incredible
hips.
moves.
I think Joe Staley even commented on the caboose. He gave him an 8 because it was either Mike or Gio that gave him an 8 based on the caboose.
Yeah.
That he was rocking there with the yellow shorts too, shorts, blue shirt. So shout out to Ivan. Doug Plagans, I think, was my favorite, but it was right at the end of the show. We actually just handed out 3 10s. So, I think Doug took the stage and it was like, it's a formality on who wins, but I'm going up here anyway. So
Ever the professional, he went out there and he still sung his heart out, and also had the backup creative decisions to sing that because it was about card theme.
Yeah, did Downtown by
Yeah.
Petula Clark, and we talked about it afterwards. We need to have a Kaboom song. But I think crowd work, Doug was the best.
POD, here comes the boom next year. I'm throwing it out there right now. Here comes Kaboom, ready or not.
I like it.
I think we used to use that for a drop at some point.
Yep.
I think, yeah.
Or you could do Boom by Saliva as well.
Yep.
Maybe not as big of a song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everybody went up there. Dell, shout out to the Kansas Collector who did Hotline Bling. There was, and I'm sorry if I missed some of you guys, but we had, who else was up there? We had, Sean Riley actually did Country Grammar,
And
right?
he nearly took the crown, the last minute edition, and he brought down the house.
He could have won if we didn't give out those 10s.
DA.
Troy did
Troy
Nothing But a Good
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah,
and Poison.
it was great.
It would have been a 10 for me right there.
Yep.
And we talked about it on their show. Check out DA Card World, The Chase. Myself and Joe were on there with the guys. I gave him a 7. I felt really bad about it because he was wearing a Diamondback hat. Was my reasoning, but my real reasoning was I think he was like a rookie in the mix, and I think you needed to give a little bit harsher criticism so that he can come back next year prepared.
Yeah, gonna come back swinging harder. He's gonna come back. We're gonna get like a workout video of him like prepping for it, like a montage, and then he's gonna come out like.
Doing Poison is a
Blazing.
bold move.
choice.
Next year, maybe he can do
I
Def
respect it.
Leppard's "Pour Some Sugar on Me."
Oh yeah, that would be a good one. Jesse did More Than Words by Extreme, and the voice of an angel, somewhere between the mix of Fergie and Jesus out there. I think got a little bit of harsh criticism from Mike, but which was on brand. But I mean, I gotta say, I was trying to, as a judge, and me and C-Rad switched off a little bit, but. Joe Staley and Mike Gio absolutely bringing the comedy on the judging. It was hilarious. I was crying a lot of the time. So you can catch those videos out at on our Instagram, and I think we're even editing some more. But Cody, first time in Chicago, we don't want to spend too much time on the National because how much segment of the hobby really went there? Probably 5-10% of the hobby. So. A lot of people were going to try to bring it to them, but I would say, a lot of people didn't go. So they're like, hey, let's talk about some cards. But what were your thoughts? If you could sum up the National, what did you get from it?
Massive. I would say one, if you have never been, I would say after experiencing this version of it, going to Atlantic City last year was a great
I was
way.
like, how do you compare it to Atlantic
I know.
City?
Yeah, it was nice to get my feet wet in Atlantic City, but boy, oh boy, I mean, this was just, no disrespect to the good folks who put that show on there. I had a great time, but this to me was miles better. This was what everybody had told, everybody who's never been to Chicago, like, oh, no, it's Chicago. That's the one. That's the one.
Okay.
And I absolutely agree. It was the venue, what you can do there, what the more people come there. So clearly, and I mean, it was by now everybody's probably heard the most attended National of all time is what we're hearing.
Did we get a head count? Like an actual
I
ticket
don't know if-
sold? I heard people like floating that it was like around 100,000.
Yeah, I think
which would
we
be
have heard 100K.
actually, if you go back maybe 2015, I believe it was generally around 50,000 people over the whole span of the show. So we've doubled.
Well, they opened up, I mean, that whole other side, which a lot of people didn't get to. I think they had Tag over there, that Whatnot had like some kind of drop thing over there. So it was like, usually the Breaker Pavilion is where it ends. They opened up that whole other hangar and had more booths, and it was, I didn't even get a chance to really walk around too much with everything that I was doing. I did walk through that area a little bit, but it was just massive amount of booths and people. And I think you were there for Friday was, in my opinion, the busiest day. Saturday I thought was going to be even bigger, but it was kind of dying down on Saturday, and then obviously Sunday was really dead. But Friday was like peak, which is crazy. I guess people don't work on Friday, But everybody got out on Friday.
I think also all of the out-of-town folks are there. That's where their vacation begins. Maybe got in Thursday night. So I noticed, it was much more of the people there on vacation were there for Friday.
Compare. So you were in Atlantic City last year, Cody. You went to Panini. They didn't have it this year, but they had the NFT.
Oh yeah.
VIP party, which they did not do this year. But you did go to last year's Panini VIP party in Atlantic City, and you went to this year's Panini VIP party. Compare the difference. Which one did you like better?
Oh, C-Rad's already smiling.
Yeah.
C-Rad's like, I wonder which one he's gonna say. The
He's
one,
a little biased.
yeah, the one that had some cool skee ball, or the one that had literally Big Boy from Outkast performing.
Take out Outkast. Take out Big Boy being there.
Okay, honestly, this one, the venue was. I think the venue was better. It was a bit of a drive, but whatever, that's fine. And actually, it was nice for us, a few of us, Gary, our guy Long Arms, we decided afterwards, we're like, well, we're already in downtown. We spent the whole time at the party, which was an amazing venue, great food, drink. The concert obviously blew our minds. But it's like, hey, we're literally 5 minutes from downtown. Let's just go hang out downtown. So that was nice, sort of a after party afterwards. So yeah, it kind of also felt like they combined the two parties from last year, with the NFT party having the big concert, and then this one having this concert, which, of course, Big Boy from Outkast.
There was definitely better athletes at the Atlantic City one.
Right.
Joe Montana was there, so that was my dream, one of my dream people to meet, of course. This one had
do we have like the list of athletes that were there? Because I only saw Ed Reed and Ty Law.
Ed Reed was
Keyshawn
there. I didn't know.
Johnson.
I
Keyshawn
actually
Johnson.
didn't know Ty Law was there.
Yeah, we didn't see. That was the thing. It's like once Big Boy played, I think everybody just went there and watched that. And these guys, I think, were probably contracted to be there around the same time.
Yeah.
So it was like, got a great video of Ed Reed kind of hyping up the crowd. And the VIP party, they had, if you had a super VIP, we had a little back bar area, and then the regular VIP didn't. But then there was like right by the stage, there was like couches, and it was like only for super VIPs. So I was one, and so was Joe. And it's just depending on what package you buy, more product to get the super VIP. Anyways, they started performing, and I was like, what's going on? It's kind of awkward. There's like 6 of us by the front stage. And then Ed Reed, like, let's get up there, like ripped it. And then everybody was, which was way better, because I think even for a Big Boy, he's like, why am I going to be performing for people and have like a 30-foot distance from when they're going to see me?
Feel good.
It doesn't feel as good. So it worked out where everybody got pushed to the front of the stage. But yeah, I think they definitely budgeted. The location was probably one of the nicest ones I had seen, even though it was in the kind of the boondocks.
Even all the Chicago ones we've been to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe besides Soldier Field, but, it was a huge location. Didn't seem full because of how big it was. I didn't even get over to where the video games were. They did that again.
Yeah, it was cool.
Diplo,
And they had the fight on and everything, because there was a couple of really big fights that night. So it was cool that they had that all set up.
Of food and,
Yep,
and
sushi,
hors d'oeuvres.
burgers, all that stuff. Diplo
Hell yeah.
played, but it was kind of like, It was like after Big Boy, I was like,
You know what it was? It was clearly like the demographic in there. Like, think of probably the average age of people there. It's all like we're either kids or in high school, ranging from that, or maybe beginning of college or whatever, when Outkast was big. So of course that's the one that everyone gravitated to, whereas Diplo's more modern. And I saw it, I'm like, it's clearly some of the younger folks here were the ones gravitating towards Diplo. But yeah, of course Big Boy was the one that it like hit every single demo right there, because we're all in that age range where that was like the music we were listening to.
Big Boy did all Outkast songs.
He did like 4 or 5 solo songs.
Okay.
But yeah, majority Outkast.
yeah, and the ones that weren't too Andre 3000 heavy, of course, that weren't.
Couldn't
like
get him down there, huh?
Like they didn't do Roses. Of course.
Could not pack up his didgeridoo in time. Could not do that.
I mean, that would, because they don't really perform live anymore.
They
as
haven't
like a
performed
group,
live.
right?
They haven't performed together in over a decade.
I mean, that would have been ridiculous if Panini actually got them back. To
We were
like,
talking
do,
about it. Like, what if there was a reunion here?
I
in
mean,
Panini?
No way.
And is Big
No
Boy
way.
from
No way.
Chicago?
No,
Atlanta.
Atlanta. They're all
Atlanta,
they're
okay.
both Atlanta
Not
based.
a Panini party.
Interesting. I mean, I would have thought that they would have just geographically probably would have focused on getting somebody who was from Chicago.
Yeah.
But no.
Not a lot of big
Could've
names
got R.
from
Kelly,
Chicago.
maybe.
Well, there's some,
Maybe
some
get R.
big
Kelly
ones.
on like a little like a one-day bail
Yeah,
or
I think
something.
he's a little busy
But
being
there's
locked
a lot
away
of-
for being
there's a
a
lot of
terrible
artists.
person.
There's a lot of-
Mosquito
There's a lot of artists from Chicago.
I'm
right?
locked up. They
Well,
won't
you
let
know what's-
me out.
You know what's crazy is the top two guys I can think of are what you just mentioned and Kanye. I'm like, yeah, no, neither of the guys are
How
gonna
about
fly.
How about the band Chicago? Hard to say I'm sorry.
Oh man,
They
yeah.
could do a redemption song and be like,
That-
sorry to say I'm sorry.
that
On
is
your
not gonna.
redemptions.
That's not gonna hit the demographic.
No.
Oh, the vintage dealers would have been swooping them up, dude.
Yeah,
They
but they're
would've-
probably not at the VIP program.
And also, isn't it one of those? They're kind of one of those weird zombie bands, right? Where it's like half of the band is from original members, and like the rest are all
don't
guys.
they have
Satara's
don't
not
they-
there anymore,
Don't
is
they have
he?
like 18 people in the band? Don't they have
Yeah.
a full horn section?
I don't know if no, I don't know. Everybody, I'm so confused. They're kind of like the Beach Boys too, where it's like it's a zombie band. It's like it's Mike Love and a bunch of guys you don't know. Basically.
You know, and and back to the national as we're getting close to running into these next segments here. I know the one thing was like, let's talk about the weather. You know, I mean, it was like I felt like on Twitter I was like at the grocery store and I ran into somebody that was just like, let's talk about how hot it is today.
It was hot.
It was hot. I mean, you know, you can't have God calm down the the weather for the event, but you know, the AC did break. It was hot. It was the AC broke on Friday, but they fixed it the next day. I don't know how quickly you can get somebody to fix half the building. It was warm, yeah, it was. We were sweating a little bit, but that was like the biggest complaint I think at the National was the heat. There was really no other really complaining besides your normal like, oh, this guy's cards were way above comps and all that other stuff, which I didn't really experience much because I didn't really walk around too much.
Yeah.
But I didn't really hear a lot of complaints about people getting silver packs. I didn't really hear complaints about people getting the chrome packs. There was obviously the card collector 2 pulling the superfractor that was, you know, people are like, whoa, loaded, they loaded them up, blah, 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 blah.
Factor of what?
Corbin
It was
Carroll.
out of the chrome promo packs, a superfractor auto of Corbin Carroll for a promo video.
Oh,
the
nice.
Topps gave him the packs up.
Nice.
My opinion, if you're going to have card collector and juice card collector up, you're not going to give him the best card. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to, be on the team of that. I do agree that the optics don't look good, but I think it was just total random luck. Because if they're going to pack out the packs, they're going to make sure he has something good, but they're not going to make sure he has the best card in the run. So, other than that, I mean, we did the Fanatics live on stage.
That was amazing.
I got to meet Michael Rubin for like 5 seconds, which was cool. We did 0304 on the Fanatics live stage with a crowd, which was
Awesome.
was pretty incredible. We didn't pull LeBron, but we did pull a card that was harder to pull than LeBron,
Bro,
even though it's not worth.
that whole setup, and this was just a reminder of how much money is behind Fanatics. Like, I felt like I was on an ESPN set.
Yeah.
Like, we
Oh,
had
yeah.
a producer, dude. Like,
We have a producer right now.
Like, yeah, you're right. Or you're right. But we had multiple producers, I should say. We had a guy that was gonna tell us how much time we had left. We had a guy that was
You have
telling
makeup guy?
Yeah.
Did you guys actually?
No,
have a
we
makeup
didn't
guy?
actually.
No.
You know what's funny is I actually was half expecting a makeup guy.
Yeah, I was
with
like,
that setup for
You know,
sure.
I mean, if you're doing pro,
But
if
yeah,
it's pro,
that
pro's
was
pro.
such a fun experience. And then like the live crowd was there, and then you can hear us in the crowd, and also obviously you guys were watching on the stream. You can hear us in the stream, fine. So like I was like, wow, this is awesome.
You know what my main takeaway, kind of playing off of what C-Rad was saying there with Fanatics, is compare it to last year, and I'm sure you guys have had more experience at Nationals, but it is kind of like to use a modern phrase, it's like a glow up for the National here. Like, we said it last year, has this industry gotten too big for a place like Atlantic City? And when I was there in Chicago this year, I'm like, absolutely it has.
It's gotten too big for a place
Was there
like Atlantic City.
any broken limbs? Wasn't there somebody who
No, a
got
couple
hurt?
people passed out.
Wasn't there
from the
somebody who
heat.
got hurt by that somebody was throwing packs out at the whatnot stage?
I heard about that. I heard
Which we
yeah, I
were
heard
told
about
not
that.
to do.
Well,
somebody-
when we were doing our podcast at the VIP Ludix Lounge.
Yeah, Hopsy.
Ludix, not Ludix. They had Sports Card Nonsense had these little circle stickers
I heard
that look like coasters, and he flung one out. Jesse flung one out in the crowd, and that would have hurt somebody if it would have hit somebody.
He nearly took a guy's eye out.
I mean, it
And,
flew.
You can
and
hear
it
on
was,
the
like,
podcast.
circling around, and we're
Oh,
like,
I heard
oh,
it.
we can't
I
do
heard it.
that.
yeah.
Can't really do that one. Yeah, that was the extent of that. For me, it was a lot of podcasts, a lot of on-stage stuff, a lot of meetings with Fanatics. And I'll tell you guys what, pull back the curtain a little bit. we've been dealing, and I'm no disrespect to any of these guys that were there before, but Fanatics and their executives have really taken the time to pull our business aside and a lot of other businesses like ours to get feedback on what they could do to make things better, what products sell. I mean, I was sitting in there with the CEOs, and then we were talking about, like, what do you think of the products? What can we do better? And I'm not going to necessarily say, like, Panini's been responsive to that. I think the old guard of Topps didn't seem to care. It was a lot of just let's sell to distributors and get their feedback because their distributors are their biggest customers, but their distributors weren't opening products at the time. So, I mean, being able to kind of communicate with them, not only with the Fanatics Live platform, but with some of their products and saying, hey, this is what worked, this is what didn't. And they may not hear me, they may not change it, but they're willing to listen. I think it was a big takeaway. And I think that's a good thing for the hobby is that they want to make products compelling for you guys. They have a lot of money to spend. They want you to appreciate what they're doing. So I know they're like the big giant in the room, and it's easy to hate somebody that's borderlining on the Monopoly game. But I think the willingness to listen and learn was great on the business side of things. But back to just feeling the love. We do appreciate all you guys, man. I mean, it was like C-Rad was only out there for a couple days, but he was the star of the show. And
I just wanted to add really quick because I've been to 3 Chicago NSCCs in a row now. And this year, even though I was the same amount of time there this year as I was 2 years ago, because of our party too, specifically because of our party, I got to meet so many more people, our customers of ours, listeners of our podcast, and that was the best experience of the National for me. Yeah. Meeting everybody, and I got to meet so much more people, and so many people, like Cody was saying, came through the booth and just wanted to say hi.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
And for those that we didn't get to see, I know I tried to make myself available at the booth as much as I could, but we were having to do other things around the National with other companies. So we appreciate all you guys more than you know. I mean, it literally left there with my heart full. Like going, man, it was so great. We need to do this more often. Like it's once a year that we get to do this, but. Hopefully maybe Fanatics events will have one like the halfway point or something that everybody goes to as well. But it was a great experience overall. Looking forward to next year. Not looking forward to Cleveland, but
it's got to be better.
I wish they could go to bed.
It's got to be better.
There ain't nothing wrong with Cleveland. I will tell you right
Cleveland
now.
rocks.
I will not rock the Airbnb in Cleveland again because.
I mean, Cleveland's that's a proper big city.
Yeah,
it's got big city
the
stuff.
National will not be in proper
right.
Like downtown Cleveland.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, the National in Cleveland, there's no hotels like right next to it.
How far?
It's not too far. A couple miles, I think.
So we should get our orders in early.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That somebody was saying those hotels are already sold out, but I don't think they're on the block yet, which would be crazy if they were.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a
Weird.
year out.
Yeah. So weird. I saw something on Twitter.
Hey, MGK's from there.
I know. I remember I was singing his songs back then, and like before he got into punk. Last time we were there, we had that Airbnb, and I was playing that Cleveland song,
Yeah.
But yeah, not a great location. But the hobby makes it happen. Regardless if we're in a mansion or a shack, everybody comes together and shows love. So, I mean, Cleveland's not the shack. I think Atlantic City's the shack, but maybe the apartment.
Let's Cleveland's got some. Cleveland got some stuff.
Like last time we were there was fine. It was fine. The only drawback was the location. I mean, our Airbnb was relatively close.
Yeah, wasn't too far, but
we lost running water.
I was talking about the water bath to somebody. I don't know. Was it on the podcast? I don't remember.
You've talked about it on the podcast on different podcasts.
It was on a podcast. Yeah.
No, but I mean at the National, I was telling somebody about it. I can't remember, but I was telling somebody about your water bath.
It was a water shower. First off, I just had to.
Buckets of water.
Like bottled water.
Bottles of water.
Oh my!
All
I
right.
mean, the other option.
The
other option was
be stinky.
Yeah. Well, and it's humid, man. It's humid. It's humid there. So
very humid. So it's humid in Chicago too.
You need those that running water, that shower. So
yeah.
And right before we get into the next segment of new releases, some of the big cards that were pulled at the National, we'll briefly go through these. We also did check it out on Pullwax's YouTube or on our Instagram. It was like a last-minute thing, so Joe Staley's buddy was there, new in the hobby, had some money to spend on some cases. He had his kid and his kid's cousin, and he's like, I want to make this memorable. What should I buy? And we were going through finding stuff. We found 12-13 Immaculate, which is a loaded double rookie class for basketball. And we heard that the Kobe logo man has not been pulled, so we're like, we'll get that. We also got case of 2020 Flawless. We were going to go back to the hotel and film it, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to call up my buddy Mike from Pole Wax and say, I know he had a booth. He had a whole camera crew with him. I'm like, let's do that. Let's see what we can do to collab together. So he brought in Card Collector 2, and then Adam Lefko came in.
That was rad.
The kids got to rip. Joe was ripping as I knocked that out because I'm so excited. And it's just hobby unity. Breakers that are competing against each other but realize that it's for a bigger cause. And the event was absolutely fantastic. You can catch those videos of what we pulled. There was some massive pulls. There was a massive amount of excitement.
That was fun.
Just watching the 1213 case get busted, pulling the Curry auto, that was fantastic. Corbin Carroll Superfractor base out of Topps Chrome was pulled. Corbin Carroll Superfractor out of the promo packs was pulled. Somebody opened, I think it was 0506, had a Jordan limited logos.
Gotta be that Jordan.
That was huge. And I believe somebody also busted Exquisite Courier and got a Curry auto.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah.
Jeez. I
Which
didn't
was
know
like
that.
kind of a collegiate, it's still a big card, but it's one of the top Curry rookies to get besides National Treasures,
Exquisite,
which
right?
they had National Treasures cases for 150 grand the Curry year.
That's it.
That's it. They also had Exquisite cases at 500K.
0304?
0304.
I was gonna call you. See if you,
Cases.
I was gonna see if you wanted to do that. You know, just
For
take a
content?
mortgage out on the business. Yeah.
You can't. I don't think you can take
The guy at the
mortgages out
booth-
on businesses, but whatever.
the guy-
I get what you're saying.
The guy at the booth, shout out to Blowout, was like, "There's guaranteed a LeBron autograph in here. Every case has a LeBron autograph."
I thought it was either LeBron or.
That's what I thought too. But he's like,
But
yeah.
he's like, LeBron is guaranteed. Because I always heard it's either LeBron or
No,
Jordan.
I'm pretty sure he was misinformed. I'm pretty sure it's.
Hey,
LeBron.
hey. Well, if there's no Jordan, if there's no LeBron, you can take it back.
After you open it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think they're taking
I'm
that thing
pretty-
back.
That was blowout, right?
If he says
That
it.
was blowout, so I'm pretty sure
he
Tom,
says
Tom
it.
would probably have to come over and have a little discussion about that.
Well, before you open it, it'd be like, Tom, your guy said LeBron is in here.
Could you imagine opening a $500,000 box, 3 boxes? That'd be insane. But
It was insane when it was
Because if
$500
there's-
a
if
box
there's
back in the
LeBron-
day.
If there's a LeBron in there, then you're basically saying there's a LeBron rookie auto in every single case.
right. Well, it,
And
it
I've
may
talked-
not be an RPA. It could
And I've
be-
talked, and you know who I've talked to, and he basically was like, you either got a LeBron
or a Jordan.
or a Jordan.
Well, all right. Let's also make sure you guys check out our Fanatics lives. We're on the app right now. It's only available for iPhone, iOS, but it's coming to Android. Also going to be available on the web. Make sure you download it. It is now open to the public, so make sure you get on there and follow us because we're doing all kinds of crazy things on there. Also, go to mojobreak.com if you prefer to get your teams and breaks and everything that we always do. We're doing that as well, but Fanatics Live has been pretty fun for us. All right, enough about national talk. We're going to have to wait till next year in Cleveland. Hopefully we'll see you guys there, and we'll run another awesome karaoke event and see if the young guy can pull it off again. We'll see. I think he's going to defend his crown. But anyways, we've got some releases coming out. We've got a big one coming out. Wanted to highlight National Treasures Football 2022 is coming out Wednesday. You can catch us on the Fanatics Live app as well. Right now, only available for iOS, but you can grab your teams for our first case. We're also going to be doing randoms. There's going to be huge giveaways and bounties and stuff like that. So make sure you download the Fanatics Live app. It is awesome. Lots of fun on that app, and get your team into National Treasures. What do you think? Did Panini kind of stumble into a perfect time to release National Treasures with mini camps and everything going on and a hype starting to build on football? Because I know it was supposed to release in July and it's gotten pushed back, but I think actually in their favor, I think this is going to work out for them. What do you think, Dan?
Well, we're at that time where we're having crossovers in years, right? So 2023, we're starting to see not just the collegiate stuff, but the licensed product come out. I think we've had a couple of them so far. And now we have National Treasures. It's a great time to be a football collector because you can go back and collect the 2022 rookie class if you're into it, but you can also look forward to the 2023 rookie class. National Treasures doesn't really matter when it comes out. People want it. They crave it. They need it.
It doesn't matter what your name is. Score came out as well, which is Score is Score. It's a great lower-end product with a chance of some autographs. But to highlight National Treasures, obviously there is one guy, probably the favorite to win MVP this year, cleared to play, good to go, Brock Purdy, your MVP for 2023.
And I'm glad you brought up Brock Purdy because I'd like to sit here and talk about the future of Trey Lance And what the Niners? Are you guys admit it? He's a bust, right?
Well,
I mean, if Niner fans are jumping on the Brock train and stoked that he's ready to go, admit that maybe the worst draft pick in 49ers history.
well, here's what I got to say.
I mean, look what you gave up for him.
Here's what
Look
I got to
you gave up
say.
for
And
him.
Sullivan
yes,
Thomas would like a word.
Yeah, here's.
I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. Here's what I got to say
I mean, he
about
was
Trey
on the
Lance.
field, like-
Here's what I got to say, and I know Cody's probably got his opinion on it, but I want to insert my opinion real quick here. Trey Lance, I believe, will be a good pro and live up to the potential, but he's not ready now. And the Niners have a ticking time clock of their window of we've got 6 guys in the PFF top 50. I don't think the Rams have 1. So we have 6 guys in the PFF top 50. But we're not going to be able to continue to pay these guys.
I believe we have 3.
Maybe you have 3. Okay, well, you don't have 6.
And your boy, Nick Bosa, he ain't practicing. He
all
ain't
right.
coming in a training camp. He wants that money.
He doesn't.
And
he
this
doesn't
is where
need
it
to
all
practice.
comes crashing down as Niner fans. You got to pay these players.
Oh, he'll
And this
get
is
paid.
the beginning of the end. You guys had a heck of a run, but back to mediocrity.
Well,
Welcome.
The reporters like to sensationalize the story. He doesn't need to practice right now.
You know him?
He's gonna get paid. I met his agent over the week, so me and Cody had a nice talk with his agents. So I mean, they were confident. Allegedly, don't put me on NBC Bay Area for this one. We're not talking about a story that's 15 years old. We're talking about more of a current one. So don't put me on there. But that's it. It's good. We're good.
Oh,
Bosa's gonna be in.
so he's not worried about his contract?
Nah, he already said it. But the reporters want to
He's
say
not worried.
because he's not showing up to practice.
He's like, I love this franchise so much, I'll play for free. Did he say that?
Do you want to put miles on that body right now? You got to get ready for the long season. So why even practice? He doesn't need it. He's probably practicing himself. Cody, what's your opinion on, before we move on to Trey Lance, does Trey Lance continue to be a 49er? What should collectors do with Trey Lance cards currently?
I think you should still hold on to them, obviously. I mean, selling right now, I mean, you're going to be taking a loss, even if you bought low, I think, at this point. But
the window closed after they cleared Brock, right?
I don't think any windows are closing. I think last year just
Better
proved
hobby
everything.
value. Sam Darnold, Trey Lance.
I mean, I am more a believer in Lance, but I think if you're talking purely value, Darnold. Just purely value. I don't believe in him more than I believe in Lance.
Call me crazy, and you're going to agree with me on this, which we don't usually agree too often. Number 2's Darnold. It's got to be. The guy's got the experience. The guy comes in a game situation.
It goes back to my point. Worst draft pick in 49ers
I
history.
still am.
If we're talking third-string quarterback right now.
I have echoed this sentiment all offseason long. Last year proved that all it takes is 1, 2. It can happen. The worst can happen, and it did last year. All it takes is that. It takes one injury, and frankly, I would rather have Trey Lance under center if Brock goes down. Heck, I'm still not convinced about Brock. I'm not.
You want him convinced? You want him over Sammy D?
Yes.
The vet who's been around for a handful of years.
Who's done what? The vet who's done what? And I just as much as Trey
Played
Lance.
in a lot more football games than Trey Lance.
That's what I'm saying. I think Trey's ceiling is obviously way farther than Sam Darnold. But if you're putting him in a game situation, and God forbid that Brock Purdy gets hurt again, but if you're in week 8 of the season and you're 7-1, probably 8-0 at that point, and he goes down, you're a guy that's seen some football action. The amount of times that Sam Darnold's seen some football action. Sam Darnold has had some bad OCs. Sam Darnold's had not a lot of receivers. Sam Darnold has all the tools in the toolbox right now and has seen a lot of NFL action for the last 5 years. So that's it. If you're the Texans and you're expected to win like 3 or 4 games, you start Trey Lance. But if you're the Niners and you're expected Super Bowl or bust, you can't go with a project guy right now. A project guy could be good in 5 years. That's all I'm saying.
So there's no chance of a Brock Purdy sophomore slump.
I think there's a very decent chance of
Whoa!
this.
I mean, Cody, I've always known you've been you're a Charger fan at heart. So this is a fun and exciting conversation we're having. You've taken your Homer hat on. You put on your Charger bolts.
I own no Bolts. I own no Thunderbolts. Look, I know I'm sorry to throw cold water on the 49ers season.
I love this
I
conversation.
still think they're going to be one of the elite teams in the NFL, but I also think he's Mr. Irrelevant for a reason, man. It was a great run, but also I kind of, to what Dan said last year, you throw almost anybody in there, you're probably going to get something out of them. I think there's also last year the element of surprise was a big element, was a big part of the success. The element of nobody knows who this guy is, and you're throwing him into a finely tuned offensive machine with Kyle Shanahan's 49ers.
Which got better in the
I
offseason.
also think that if you are a defensive coordinator and you're prepping for a game plan against a quarterback like Trey Lance, and then you get Brock Purdy thrown in there, your game plan is going to have to change. And I don't think
They had 8 weeks to prepare
I don't
for
think
him.
the
He's still
defensive
winning the games.
coordinators, I don't think they did their due diligence, except for the Eagles. They did their due
They got
diligence.
lucky.
If you're throwing
They did not get lucky.
They hurt him.
They outplayed.
They hurt him in the first series of the game. How did that's getting lucky? He got hurt.
if you're throwing
but Brock
yeah.
Purdy is there because he was next man up.
He
The
was.
Niners had another quarterback. He went in there. He also got hurt. I get that. That is a bad break. But you cannot say without a doubt the Niners would have won that game. The Eagles were the better team, better record.
When he was in there, he had the best quarterback rating in the entire NFL over Pat Holmes. So is that lucky? That's just lucky. It's lucky.
I think you put a lot of quarterbacks in that system, and I think they're going to have the best stats they've ever had in their
Josh
career.
Johnson did not look great back there.
Josh
so.
Johnson, I think you give him more time under center. I think the result is for the season is
He's
pretty much
38.
the
He hasn't
same.
had that much time under center.
Not in the Niners offense. I mean, dude, honestly,
He's
like
been
I
on
don't
the
even
team
know why
3
we
times.
question that. Like, the Niners obviously saw something in Josh Johnson to bring him in. However many times they brought him in.
Well, I want to bring this back into actually talking about National Treasures, and we get a little bit of a pass on this podcast for talking Bay Area because National Treasures is highlighted by Brock Purdy. You can also say Kenny Pickett as well. But I want to ask you guys predictions. First NTRPA, number to 99. What is the price? What is the estimate
Of which player? Brock Purdy?
Brock.
of Brock Purdy?
Do we know if it's live?
I mean, all of the promo material is showing it live, but that
we
could be-
don't
yeah,
know
who
it. The
knows?
only thing I can tell, this is at midnight that we're seeing here on the screen.
But
It
that could
almost
be,
looks
but
like
that
it's a
could be-
sticker.
But that could be a mock-up as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It almost looks like it could be a sticker. We don't know if he's live, but regardless, okay, just maybe keep the fact that it's a 50% chance it's live, it's not live. What do you think his number to 99 RPA, true RPA, not the midnight one, the one that's going to look similar to the Olave on the screen but not a shield, what do we think it goes for?
I think it's going to go for like $6,000.
Jeez, no. It's crazy.
No,
I'll buy all of them for
probably-
$6,000.
Probably a little. I
I mean, be on. I mean, really, guys?
I mean, he's the guy, and
What
he's
do
the
you- what do
only
you think-
guy.
what
I'm
do you
not
think
saying
Co-
it's going to go
what
for
do you think
a
Cody
ton more.
Pickett's going to go for? Kenny Pickett.
Less than
God,
Brock
dude,
Purdy.
man,
Probably
if
a
I
little
call,
less.
how
I
many
know.
times have I called Kenny Pickett?
been
Cody
a whole
Pickett?
year.
A whole year.
Been a whole year.
Forever, Cody Pickett.
Yeah. I don't know the exact number, but I'm just gonna say, what did the first Mac Jones go for? What were the Mac Joneses going
Stupid.
for?
6 figures.
Yeah, so yeah, can't,
Different
it's
times,
not gonna be
though.
6
Way
figures.
different time.
I think it'll go for at least 5 figures for sure. I don't know, 10, 15. Is that that?
That's what
under
I
something?
was
Yeah,
on
that's
board
what I
with.
think so.
Okay, so wait a second. I
Fif-
said
10 to
I
15.
said $6,000.
Yeah.
And you guys
Yeah.
like
No. That's
blew
why.
your top, and then you
No.
come in at like $4,000 more. You
Yeah,
act like
that's
it was
only
gonna be-
4K more.
You
That's
got-
not that
We
crazy.
doubled your price.
No, you guys act like I basically was like $100,000 off what you guys were gonna say. $6,000, I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah,
it's $6,000. I very well could be
You're on the low end.
absolutely dead on.
You're on the low
I'll
end.
buy
I
them.
mean-
I'll buy them for 5,000. Believe me.
No, I said
Um,
$6,000.
Well,
I
you're
didn't
looking
say $5,000.
Courtesy of Card Ladder here. I'm looking at some higher sales. A 1-of-1 Brock Purdy, Iowa State. 1-of-1 went for 13,000. The highest sale right now is the Finite Black signed Prism auto that went for 24,000. So that's the highest sale on record on Card Ladder.
And you know what? And I know the market different with when the Mac Joneses were out there, but I will say the wild card here is very similar to what Select last year. It's funny we were saying, oh man, the Select XRCs was made it really different, really unique right before the season. It's, I mean, this might be a data reference now, but he's saying, hey, NT's saying, hold my beer. How about NT right before preseason begins? You want to talk about a time where these card values could hit the absolute peak of their potential power here. It is right now in this exact moment. So I would probably take the over on whatever it is, whatever it may be, 6 to 10 grand.
Okay.
I would take the over on most big rookie RPAs.
Fair. Okay, let's go big. NT Shield RPA, Brock Purdy.
Oh, goodness. Easily
6 figures, right?
Easily six. Easily six.
You mean $100,000?
Yeah.
Yes, at least.
Man,
minimum.
you guys, what
Because of
what
the
month are we in?
But it's also the
Wait,
timing.
is it
It's the timing.
420?
It's the timing.
Is
of
it 420? Because dude, you guys are high.
Hey, it is. It is again. If this was actually April of this year, I don't know if I would say 6 figures because the season's long gone and we have a long time until the new season. But training camp is here. The man's throwing.
Shield probably sell 24 grand.
My goodness.
I'll buy it at that too. Hit me up on my cell phone.
Look, I think I would say on the
Late
low
night when you
end
need to sell a Brock
and
Purdy.
in the 65 to 70 range.
So
low
we
end
have
65 to 70.
The 2023 rookie crop coming in of new rookies. You guys cannot deny this statement that
A much better QB class.
much better QB class,
Yeah.
much better rookie class.
Without question.
But there's the manufacturer wars in this one as well. So
I get it, but you're still going to have cards, regardless autographed or not, of every single rookie in 2023. Rookie quarterbacks are going to have cards in every single product.
right, but there will not be NTRPAs of Levis, Young, and Stroud.
But-
now there's going to be shields, of course.
Yeah, but like we make that statement like that is in fact 100% certainty. We don't know. We can't foresee what happens in the future. There very well could be NT RPAs. We don't know. We're just assuming what we're looking at right now that there will not be, which is probably the safe bet to assume. But there's still going to be cards. There's still going to be tons of cards of these rookies. And I think what we're going to see is that the collectors are going to shift real quick to the 2023 rookie class heading into training camp. And unfortunately, the 2022 class, not as strong. People are going to kind of forget. And they're going to move on.
Well, you have some good situations that happen in the offseason for these guys. You've got Aaron Rodgers on the Jets now, throwing to the Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson. You've got Derek Carr throwing to Chris Olave. You've got Seattle had a hell of a draft, so you've got Kenneth Walker back healthy. You've got the Texans with Damian Pierce, who's going to have and I'm talking about these are all 2022 guys that are going to probably have a big preseason moment, going to have a big first week moment that is going to help this because as it sits right now, the cards of Bryce Young, Levis, all those guys are in the lower end phase of the release calendar. So, yeah, there will be some hype, no doubt. But
what sells? What positions? You just named off a lot of unless those players learn how to become an elite quarterback in the league, there will be value with those players, but they're not going to touch quarterback level.
okay, well,
values.
here's a good question for you. Which quarterbacks do we care about in the 2022 rookie class?
Brock Purdy,
Okay.
Kenny Pickett,
Okay.
The only guy I think that
Sam
can break
Howell.
through.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell. Yeah, sure. Desmond
Ritter, I think, is the
Desmond
only
Ritter.
guy that can break
So there's
through.
4 right there. That's
There's
competing
4,
with the other 4.
but like those, I don't think one of those quarterbacks may take that leap and be a premier quarterback in the league. But the hype going into 2023 is there were 4 quarterbacks that are what people would consider out of the gate tier 2 quarterbacks in the league.
Here's a test. Where would Hendon Hooker rank in the 2022 rookie QB class?
He'd probably be number 1.
No, well, I was
No.
like,
I mean,
one.
I'm taking. Let's go preseason going into the season. Let's say
I'm
I'm saying let's
Yeah,
where we're
I don't
at right
disagree.
now.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
So
Well,
Hooker would have been the top quarterback that everybody would have been going for.
And even still, I think he'd be,
Especially being on the Lions,
he'd
too.
be a very close. He'd be top 3 easily. I think he's easily the third guy without question.
And there's
Yeah, after a
lot
season.
of hype. I'm saying
Right.
he gets drafted. He's not injured. He gets the starting job for the Lions. Now, that's a lot of what ifs and a lot of things that did not happen.
But I think we could. The point being, we can agree that the guy who was the 5th guy in the current
Would have been
QB
the
class.
I feel would have been preseason hype leading into last season. Would have been the number 1 guy that everybody was chasing.
I mean,
It
but
would have been him and Pickett.
and Pickett.
the prices do reflect. Sam Howell's prices are pretty high. I mean, I think the Commanders just barely missed the playoffs last year. With what? Who was their quarterback?
With a weak wild card.
It was
situation, yeah.
Heineke was on a run for a little bit. They made that switch to Wentz at the end of the season, which didn't pay off. But I mean, you've got a supreme defense. You've got John Dotson over there that had a phenomenal season. You got Brian Robinson running the rock,
And no Dan Snyder up in the owner's box.
right, exactly. Things are looking up for Washington, and we'll see what happens with that. But let's move on to the other releases. We've got MVP hockey. I mean, hockey has been by far. I mean, I think for us, demand-wise, it's been baseball because the season's going on, and then probably football, basketball. And hockey, if I could rank it, it'd be like the 18th sport right now. If there was 17 other sports to put in front of it, it would happen because what Upper Deck has done, and I don't know why, is with the 3 releases coming out, it's just been tough. Everybody wants Bedard. MVP is going to have Bedard, apparently. So it is their Topps Big League equivalent, if you had to compare it in releases to baseball. Do we think there's going to be any buzz on MVP hockey?
I think just because of the chance to get, and there'll be like the scratch-off redemptions of those. So
this is a serious question.
Yeah.
What year
Yeah,
is
that.
MVP hockey?
This is a 23-24 product.
Is it 23-24?
This is a 23-24 product.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Now,
So they're clearly, I think their strategy, and they had a big display at the National. We didn't talk about this when we talked about the National.
21-22, the Cup. Have we seen that yet?
No.
Okay.
No, I think we've seen that, but not 22.
No,
you're right,
No,
22.
it might have been 2021.
Okay.
No,
It's
it was
impossible.
no. It was 2021.
Yeah, so
we are 2 seasons about to be 3.
I think and to allude what Doug said with hockey being so far down in like the collector's demand, I think solely is based on the fact that collectors are so confused with who they are collecting because we are so far behind on the release schedule that we have. Is it 3 years worth of product that we were having crossover at this point?
The Cup, that last Cup was
15.
the final 20. Yeah, I know. It feels like it.
I mean, I'm trying not to be
McDavid rookie stuff still
I'm
coming
not
out.
trying
Right.
to be that guy, but I'm just like somebody who like is in the industry and lives this stuff. We talk about products across all categories every single day. If you were to tell me right now what product that, let's say Credentials Hockey came out. I think that is a new release that came out. I saw an invoice for it. Didn't even know it was coming out. Saw an invoice. If you were to tell me, who am I chasing in Credentials Hockey? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Well-
if I don't know that, how are the average collectors
Okay,
going
here
to
you
know
go.
that?
I just went on friends of the show, Dave and Adams. They've got a good hockey pre-sale site. Shout out to Troy and Dave over there for having us on the show. You can check that out on the Chase. They are pre-selling 21-22 Upper Deck Ultimates.
Oh my God.
So
21-22.
21-22 Upper Deck Ultimates.
Yes.
Also pre-selling 21-22 Upper Deck Credentials, which you just mentioned.
Yes.
And pre-selling 23-24 MVP.
Yes. We
Where
just,
are we going?
We just yeah. So exactly, that's
Right.
perfect to the point that I'm trying to make. Somebody who lives and breathes this stuff and is in the industry, I don't know who I'm chasing in any given release now. How do we sell it? if we don't know?
21-22 Premier is up there as well. So, and stature. Skybox Metal 22-23.
I just
Parkhurst
wish,
22-23.
and the obvious is that like obviously there is an issue with production, but I think at this point,
and C-Rad is back. He's back on the show.
I think at this point, it may be in Upper Deck's like best interest to probably
Sell the company?
cut out some releases. Like, do whatever you got to do to try to get on a path where the consumer knows what we're looking to chase.
There is an opportunity for Upper Deck here with Connor Bedard. And I was mentioning, I didn't get to say that at the National, their booth, Connor Bedard. You could get Connor Bedard cards. It's time. He's the guy. He's the biggest chase hockey collectors have
His
had
name's Connor.
since exactly. Since another Connor. It's the biggest chase they've had since McDavid.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Whose first name is Connor.
whose first name is Connor.
I actually am pretty sure if your name's not Connor,
He might be a star.
and
How about Wayne?
don't even try
and
playing
Wayne
hockey.
and Wayne.
Did you
obviously.
guys already make the joke that they should just skip all years and just go straight?
I
to
mean,
Connor
I don't
Bedard
even
here?
think it's a joke anymore.
No,
I think they
we
actually
just had
have
we
to.
just had a segment where we were like, I'm confused of who we're chasing.
I genuinely think
We have
they
3
kind of
years.
have to consolidate here and get to 23-24, or else they're going to be left in the dust. Why would anyone imagine this year? Imagine if we had to chase Bryce Young in 2026. That's insane.
But the path we are on right now, and this is ridiculous. We are a minimum of 3 years away from seeing the cup that has Connor Bedard in it.
That's why they
if
need
we are
to just
on this
consolidate.
path, like Connor Bedard, he may have 2 Stanley Cup victories.
or his career could be over.
His
We
career,
don't know.
I mean, it could be.
We
or,
don't
or
know.
we could look back and go, Connor Bedard. It reminds me a lot of Neil Yakupov.
All right, well, let's
Like
we got C-Rad
Great
back.
Neil Yakupov pull
We got
right
C-Rad
there.
back.
Fantastic.
I know. It's not on the Oilers. Arch Manning. Do you guys know which? I know, but do you guys know which kid he is?
That would be the Manning that
Manning
didn't
that-
make the
the
NFL.
Manning
Yes,
yeah.
Cooper.
Cooper. I was like Colton.
So,
Colton.
so
Colton
Cooper,
Manning.
Cooper Manning.
Colton Manning.
Colton sounds like a Manning name.
It does. There's you gotta be. What's the over under on there? There's definitely a Colton Manning somewhere, right?
Great
Absolutely.
name. Great name.
It would be perfect.
Sounds like a football baller.
But I know Cooper. I know Eli and Peyton have said that their brother was the most athletic out of the three of them.
He just
but
had
he
that
had
injury.
a disc problem in his back that's why he didn't play. Also the tallest. But what made headlines is obviously Panini signed an NIL deal with Arch Manning, created this awesome 2012 throwback design of Arch Manning going to Texas, which I believe he hasn't even played a collegiate game yet. Correct? Am I
has not.
correct?
Not
Okay.
yet.
So he's like 16, 17, maybe 18.
No, I
Not 16, but like 18, 19.
I think he is gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna be playing this year in college, but I think he's gonna be eligible, right?
Is he playing this year in college?
This will be his freshman year this year. Yes.
So he will be.
Don't know if
playing.
he'll be starting.
18 years old. He is 6'4", so he's got the right size for a quarterback.
Born in 05.
Born, crazy.
Oh, yeah,
God dang, I'm old.
What were you doing?
Super old. $100,000 went to charity. Outsold any Peyton Manning rookie contenders auto that's ever been sold. I mean, what is our thoughts? I mean, this is like the biggest NIL card of all time, right? So
Yes.
far, as it stands today.
100%.
He's named after his grandfather, correct?
Yes, Archibald. Archie. Who actually didn't have a great career. Is Archie a Hall of Famer?
Archie, no,
Good
he's not.
career.
Good career. Good
Bad
career,
team.
not a
Bad
Hall of
team.
Famer.
Bad team.
Historically bad team.
Yeah, good career, not a Hall of Famer.
I think he was
Hall
on
of very good.
Saints were getting whipped around by the Niners for like
Yeah, they were a bad team.
every game.
They were a very bad team.
Probably the Rams too.
They
for that
were
matter.
getting whooped around by pretty much every.
I was going to say that might be a little too early. Actually, they were getting whipped around by the Cowboys and the Steelers, probably.
Well, that was when the Niners had the Falcons, the Saints in the division. The Niners, Rams, Saints,
Right.
Falcons, right?
And
So,
and don't forget the Carolina Panthers.
when they came in.
Yeah, when they came
When
in,
they came in.
I don't understand who did that alignment for the NFL, but they're like
bizarre.
Carolina, NFC West.
Why was
What?
Atlanta in the West in two different sports for a long time?
Yeah.
It makes zero
Did somebody
sense.
not look at a map?
Yeah.
Nah.
Carolina, and then the Rams moved to St. Louis, and they're like, NFC West,
Oh,
St. Louis.
whoops. Yeah.
Now,
It's a
can
little
this card ever go up? I mean, obviously, if he becomes a great pro or gets drafted in 4 years. I don't know how long it's going to take him. So he comes in the 2028 rookie class, and he has his actual first black Prism auto, assuming, well, Panini's around by then, but hopefully they are. We hope so.
I mean, is that
they're
part
going to be
of
around, but
yeah.
they're not going to have they're not going to be able to put autographs of him out probably.
So this could be the
or I
only.
mean, they will.
This
but not
could
in
be
pro uniform.
theoretically could be the only Prism auto of Arch Manning.
I was
right?
going to say, is that part of the
No,
math here?
No.
You think that's
he-
the only one?
We'll still have autos because it's an exclusive autograph deal.
Right, so they might
but
have
they just
Prism
won't, they won't
Collegiate.
be able to put him in a pro uniform with an autograph.
Let's elephant in the room here. You got $100,000 burning a hole in your pocket. Is this the card you're buying?
No.
I mean,
No,
it was for
hell
charity,
no.
so.
Okay. So
probably-
let's just say.
If it's not charity, do you think it goes?
Let's
for
just
this
say,
much?
like,
also
if it's
changes
not
the math.
charity, then what do you think the card goes for?
Half that.
50. So you have $50,000 burning a hole in your pocket, Cody, and
Half
you're just
it.
like,
I'm
you're
not saying I'm buying it.
Yeah, but you're like, if somebody's like, hey, I spent $50K on this, you're like, yeah, I can see that.
I mean, we haven't
I
had.
mean, okay, what if his name isn't Manning?
Then not even a quarter
doesn't
of
even
that.
matter. I mean, this is.
What if it's Arch?
It sells for $2.
But this is. I mean, I don't want to compare it to this, but I'm going to go down this route. If you're thinking of like a thoroughbred horse, and you've had that bloodline, right? Of who's the Secretariat, right? Remember how everybody would be going for that Secretariat's next kin. I mean, this guy. There's nobody in sports that has a bloodline like this, right?
No.
There's nobody.
What year of
No.
horse racing is that? Was
That's
that
right.
like
It's the 40s, 30s.
did they made a movie? I think it was like based in the 1920s.
Well, Seabiscuit?
Seabiscuit, sure, yeah.
But
Toby
those
Maguire,
guys
Jeff
would
Bridges,
command
great movie.
the horse, the spawn would have
You mean
command
the
a premium.
Stud.
I believe.
I'm
I believe.
try- I'm
I
not
believe
trying to
if
go
I believe
too-
if
I
we're
mean,
talking,
look.
if we're talking about horses, I think they're called studs.
Okay.
I
believe it.
have always thought Peyton kind of resembles the Bronco logo he once wore on his helmet, but I digress. We can move.
Yeah.
What? Nah, my guy Payne's a looker, man.
Look, I love Peyton. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just telling you.
But I don't think anybody has had, a grandfather that's, had a storied career, two uncles that are two-time Super Bowl winners each, 4 Super Bowls in between them.
Legendary.
One probably in the top 5 of all time. The other, his uncle Eli, probably in the top 25 of all time. I don't think you can go across any sport and have that kind of lineage.
You don't think this can hurt his career? I think it's.
Oh, it
I think
absolutely
actually,
will.
I think the more accolades that his family has makes it harder for him to be a good pro.
How many kids on the defensive side, let's say the number 1 defensive recruit, nobody can name who that is. We can all name Arch Manning. No one can name who's the number 1 defensive recruit going in college football. How badly does that guy want to knock this guy to the ground?
Who is it?
As many times. I don't know what his name. That's my point. Nobody knows who that is, but we all know Arch Manning,
Well,
and
it's,
that's all the incentive that guy needs to knock him on the
it's
ground.
Johnny Too Tall Jones, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Sure. Let's go with that.
or who else? I don't know, Kevin Green. the
I mean,
third.
if you look at it from the perspective of going back to the bloodline thing, you could say that like it's one of the safer investments you can make based on what his family has done.
right? You look at like Ken Griffey Jr.,
we're-
Barrett
Okay,
Bobby.
well,
There's not
because-
a
well,
lineage.
Bob Greasy, Brian Greasy.
Well, no.
Be-
No.
be- because because
I'm
No, I
saying
mean,
success.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be like Downer Dan, but I'm like, it could be.
it could also be detrimental. Yeah, you're
He
right.
could be the Brian Greasy of the Manning family.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he could be. But my point is like also we're investing in kids that don't have any ties to anybody, right? Like, and people are spending millions of dollars on these other kids.
You guys
So
have
why not invest in a Manning? The
You
next
guys have seen the
Manning?
movie How High? He's like, my granddaddy was a pimp. My daddy was a pimp. That's what Arch Manning can do when he walks around.
His daddy was a pimp.
And his granddaddy was a pimp, too. So, just quoting the great movie with Method Man and Redman.
I love that movie.
And Mike Epps.
I think he has big shoes to fill.
He does.
I think it's gonna be tough. I'm rooting for him.
I mean, look, there's only been one Hall of Fame Manning, so that's very big shoes to fill.
Yep.
Eli's going to the Hall of Fame.
So for this last,
I mean, are we
we'll
gonna
see.
Eli?
No, he will. He will.
Russell Wilson's going. Eli's going.
Well, Eli has 2 Super Bowls, so he's gone.
If
I
he
know
did,
one-
if,
The
and guess
only
what? If he had none, not a chance.
The only
and more
man-
importantly,
0%.
he beat Brady twice.
but
More
there's
importantly.
no doubt.
He's the only
that-
one to do that, right?
But there's
The
also
best.
no doubt that Peyton's,
Eagles beat him twice,
Peyton's
but
the
not
best
the same
Manning.
Yeah, it's not even.
It's
not
two
even
different
close.
quarterbacks.
Not even
Yeah.
like
Peyton is literally on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks.
I want that argument. I
Yeah.
want somebody to be like, yeah, I actually think Eli's better.
Is Patrick Mahomes on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks?
There's people that think Eli's
He's
better.
starting to etch
They're
his
fucking
head.
Giants
They're
fans.
starting to.
I mean,
they're starting to chisel
you can't
it
be a
in.
Giants fan.
All right. Well, this next segment, all I got to say is congratulations to the person that sold a Magic the Gathering card for $2 million to Post Malone. It was reported at 2.6, but yes, it was retracted. I guess Post Malone was on a podcast today that said it was $2 million. So Collectibles Guru did revoke that $2.6 million and said it was $2 million. I know when this card came out, it was Cassius Marsh that came out and put a $500,000 bounty on it. And then D.A. Cardwell came out and put $1 million bounty on it. I don't think those went to any of those companies, obviously, and I think the gentleman that's holding the card was the one that
Posty
sold
doubled
it.
up, huh?
Posty doubled up. I want to ask you guys before we get into this. This is all courtesy of Collectibles Guru. Most expensive card by category. So you have
All right, I can't play this game.
you have
'Cause I've already-
you
I
have
saw the
baseball,
tweet.
Pokemon, WWE, UFC. Where does this rank, and what sport do you think it's higher than without looking at the data?
This is higher than everything except baseball. I feel like baseball and basketball.
No.
Yeah. Well, now that it's a 2, then I think baseball.
2.6. I'm talking about most expensive card of all time in each
Oh,
category.
right.
In this category.
In the category, like obviously baseball, $12.6 million mantle.
Right.
That's number one.
yeah.
Right. But where do you guys go from there? Is it? Let's just do it. Let's test
I
your
say
knowledge.
top 5.
You're close. Do you think hockey is higher than it?
No.
No.
It
Yes.
is.
Really?
Gretzky.
Yep. $3.75 million Gretzky. Do you think soccer is higher than it?
Yes.
No.
No, Pele though.
No, you're right. Pele. Wow, Dan's on it.
I saw the tweet.
Oh,
Cheating.
So like I actually said nobody's paying attention to me. I'm like, I can't play this game because I saw the tweet.
Okay. So it's the 6th ranking category of all time. You had baseball, Pokemon with
Or
a
I'm the smartest
5.
guy in the room.
Pokemon second though. Pokemon second with a $5.2 million Pikachu. LeBron $5.2 million for basketball. Football $4.3 million Mahomes. Hockey $3.75 million Gretzky, and then now Magic with the 1 ring.
The one
Card.
that surprised me was the Pokemon.
Yes.
It was
I-
the one that Logan Paul wore, right?
But Pikachu, I was like, I thought we're all chasing Charizard.
So it's Pikachu, but it's actually a trainer card, right?
Yeah, there might only be
And it
one or
was
two in the
exclusive
world.
To, it was given away at one of the first tournaments in Japan, and it's so rare that's the reason why it's so expensive.
But it's funny, you actually have 2 ranking categories of famous people that have bought cards now. So I mean, I guess that's how it works out, is getting more famous people involved in cards.
Because Posty is for him, that's chump change for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Maybe he'll get a tattoo of that too. But 1 of 1.
I would
Tales
love
of
that
Middle
card.
Earth, the 1 ring.
That's
Crazy.
dude.
So
dude
I actually get if you're a Magic the Gathering player,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that card's pretty good, right? When you're
probably
playing,
like broken card.
you're-
Yeah.
But it's the first set of that set, so it's almost like it was like a brand new. It's like they, and this is like trying to cross it over to sports, but it's like the first year Luminance or something like that.
was
right?
it
Isn't
was it
like,
stamped? Was it stamped 1 of 1?
It was,
Yeah, it is.
and they never do
And
that.
I was like,
They
I'm like,
never
they
do
don't
that.
they don't do that.
They never do
Like,
that.
could you imagine if like Pokemon started like stamping?
They're
limited
gonna have
edition?
to printing
Like
10 billion cards a year, dude.
Well,
so
they
this
can't.
is look at this guy. This is the guy holding the card.
Charizard, 1 of 10.
This guy is
100,000
shaking.
billion.
This is shaking.
Yeah, for real.
Before he sent it into grading, this guy is shaking.
Was it got a PSA 9, right?
You got a 9.
Yeah. I would be
Um,
shaking too, man. I want that card so bad, dude.
He almost dropped it, dude. Could you
Posty, what's up?
Why is he?
Let me buy like
Is he like
let me
trying
buy
to
like
go
a
outside
50th
his
of it,
house
bro.
Right now, I see a
I
door
don't
there.
know. Yeah, I mean, it's he almost dropped it there. I mean, could you imagine if he dropped it, kicked it, and it bent in half? Like, God.
Probably wouldn't have uploaded
Magic
the photo.
Magic
No,
would
probably
probably
the video.
Magic would have probably made him another one
You think so?
if he kicked it.
I don't think so.
No.
Who do you contact?
I mean, is
You call
this
it contact Mr. Magic?
Yeah.
Mr. the Gathering?
I'll contact Gandalf.
Yeah. Is it still Wizards of the Coast that still makes Magic
Yes.
the Gathering?
WotC,
Right.
yes.
Yep. That made the original Pokemon.
Yeah.
I remember.
No. Yes.
Yeah, the original run of Pokemon. They were Wizards of the Coast.
It was WotC? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Like the first 2 series, I want to say.
Wow.
2 or 3 series. Yeah.
But I see Cody has here. Is
Congratulations.
he as wise as Gandalf or a fool of a took? Which
Yeah,
you
that's
might
for
want to
that's
explain that
that's
to
from
me.
my Middle Earth. That's from my Middle Earth people right there.
Yeah,
that's
with
from my
no
LOTR
idea.
fans.
No idea.
No, I mean, obviously Gandalf. We all know Gandalf, one of the
James
great,
Delaney, or-
the Grey
okay,
Wizard.
Okay, when you say we all know,
We all know him. Yes.
we don't all know.
I mean, you've
What-
seen the movies, right? We saw
The
some
what?
movies.
The what
Oh.
movies? The
Yeah.
Lord of
The
the
Lord
Rings.
of the Rings. Yeah, the Lord of the
No,
Rings.
yeah.
So some of the
I've
biggest
heard
movies
that
of all
they walk
time.
around a lot.
Yeah.
And
Wait, Dan. You've never seen any of them.
No,
Period.
I've seen it anyway.
I watched a few of them with my daughter, but
They were
not
probably
enough.
walking around somewhere, right?
Yes, they walk
They're
a
not-
lot.
They're not really walking in the movie. Actually,
Gandalf
No,
is a
there's a
little-
lot of walking.
Gandalf
There's
is
a
a
lot
little-
of walking.
That's a theory that's come up by people who
Is
have.
Gandalf like the My Precious
No, that's
No,
Gollum.
Gollum.
That's Gollum.
Oh, that's
Dude.
what I was thinking of too.
man?
That's Gollum, who used to be a hobbit, but then
The ring turned him into that creature.
Correct. The ring, the power of the
'Cause it
ring,
corrupts you.
Exactly, corrupts you.
That
and,
ring
yeah,
right there.
That ring
Yeah.
right there
So
corrupts
are you telling me Post Malone's gonna morph
Right,
into
of course,
something
yeah,
now?
one
'Cause
ring
he-
to
Post
rule
Malone
them
already
all.
kind of looks like Gollum.
Right,
so.
one ring to find them, one ring, all that to bind them, blah blah. All know. Again, we all know.
No, we
this.
don't all know, but yes.
What's that? There's like a Post Malone meme going around. He's like, "That's really nice," or something like that. Where
Yeah,
he's
something
like,
like that.
they use that a lot. Well, on that note, thank you guys for listening to episode 299. Next week, man,
Wow.
we're so excited to bring you guys episode 300. We got lots of stuff in store for you guys. We're
Can't
gonna do
believe
some
it.
giveaways. We're gonna do some surprises.
We're here.
It's gonna be insane, and we do apologize for not having a lot of content at the National. It was crazy out there, so I know we took kind of a week off, but we made up for you. We gave you a Monday podcast with the guys from Sports Card Nonsense, which we had a great time with.
I think in supplement of the fact of that we didn't have a lot of podcast content this year for National, if you check out our socials, we put a lot of content out there on
Tons.
socials.
We did. Yeah, we
Tons
did.
and tons.
Shout out to Gary and Cody for getting that stuff done. But yeah, we'll see you guys on the next show. But make sure you guys download the Fanatics app.
300.
Fanatics app. Get on there. Join in. NT Week is next week, right before, right when our podcasts come out. So it's good timing. And follow us, Mojobreak_com on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll see you then.
300.